Hello, I'm Zombies of Bacon, and we have a new capture card to check out, sent to us from our friends at BlueAVS. This is a little bit different to my standard capture cards. They reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in giving it a try, and when I saw the price and the specs for this, I said, absolutely, checking this out. Obviously, I've already plugged it in and been trying with it the last couple of days. This is my thoughts on how it's been going. To have a look what comes in the box, the device itself, which we'll go over in great detail in a second, but this is what it looks like straight out of the box, as well as a HDMI cable, a USB-C cable, and some instructions. And the instructions also has a audio settings, video settings, best recommended, and an OBS setup guide as well. That being said, this thing is pretty much plug and play, so don't stress too much about the details. The device itself, quite small, quite sleek. It is plastic casing, got some rubber feet, as well as some ventilation on the bottom here. Chips here to check it out as well. HDMI input, output, obviously it's got pass-through. It's got a USB-C powered, as well as data. It also has a 3.5 jack for a line in, and also an out for a headset port as well, for those who are looking for a little bit more versatility in their setup. Give you an idea of the size of this versus something like this, a usual capture card, about the same, fraction smaller if anything. So as we're talking about this particular sort of capture card, I was able to basically unplug what I use currently, which is an Elgato capture card, and switch this into its place with a USB-C connection, HDMI in and out, and capture it without any issues. It was picked up by the PC immediately, all the drivers and everything else like that, just set itself up. I could find it in OBS almost immediately, and I can set it to pretty high specs without any issue or notice any kind of dramas with it at all, which is what you want with one of these. Basically it means that you can just plug it into your system and you shouldn't have any issues with it being registered / being able to pick it up in your recording / streaming software, which is pretty damn good. I've done a bit of capturing and streaming over the past week using both my Nintendo Switch 2 and my PlayStation 5. So I'm showing you a bit of my captured footage here from a range of different games. You can get an idea of what the quality looks like, which in my opinion is very sharp. I was capturing at 4K 60 FPS. Of course, not every game supports 4K 60, but it gives you a good look at what the card is capable of doing. On the spec side, it also offers HDR and VRR support, as well as zero latency loopback pass-through, meaning that you get no lag when you're playing a game going from your console through the capture card and to your monitor. It also supports up to 1080p at 144 Hz. Generally speaking, I don't have anything bad to say at this capture card at all. So if you look into the details with this, there is a heap of different capture formats, including RGB and NV12, MJPEG, all the sort of standard stuff that you can go with. Captures at 4K 60 FPS, as well as a 4K 30 FPS, to 1440p, up to 144 FPS, or 1080p, up to 240 FPS. If you're looking to get into streaming and you don't have a capture card and you're looking for something that maybe a little bit more budget friendly, this is definitely a front runner, in my opinion, most applications. So if you're talking about streaming and stuff like that, it can do everything that Twitch is asking for in terms of that sort of stuff. So when your device gets powered up, obviously it has a little strip along the top here, on the red strip. And when there's a signal going through it, if the console's been turned on or whatever, it'll change to an RGB light to show that it's going through that as well. So there's an obvious question here with this capture card, and we'll get to that in just a second. But before we get to that, there's something I want to talk about, and that is pricing. Right now, and I'll put the link in the description below, you can buy this from Amazon for $84.67 Australian. That is 4K at 60 Hertz or 1080p at 144 Hertz, USB 3 capture card. Granted, I've only been playing with it for a week, but at the same time, like, there's nothing, I've had zero issues. I don't have any gripes at all. So I think the obvious question, and maybe the one I don't have the answer for, is why would you buy an Elgato capture card, for example, when this one here is available for half the price? I understand, and I'm a big Elgato fan, don't get me wrong, but maybe if you want to keep within their ecosystem, you're using all their software, using their mods, all those sort of extra kind of features and services and that sort of support, then maybe that is valid. Like, that is a good reason to stick with them and in that aspect. But if you're a first-time streamer that hasn't got any of that stuff or doesn't already use that stuff and just wants to capture video game capture consoles or whatever through HDMI, then at a purely specs and functionality point of view, this does all of that at a very nice price. So, in conclusion, this is the BlueAVS, and this is a excellent capture card for the price. I feel like this does everything that you need in terms of capturing gameplay and in terms of making that sort of stuff. So thank you, BlueAVS, for sending this out. This wasn't even on my radar until you reached out to me. Yeah, this sort of stuff is fantastic for the main reason that it makes content creation more affordable, and I'm all about that. So thanks, BlueAVS, again for sending this out to check out. I will put the link in the description below. Please click it. Please go have a look at this. It's on Amazon right now. The specs are fantastic. I've used it. It works great. And if you're looking to capture gameplay or looking for a game capture card that you can use, this is the one that you can afford today.